Hello and welcome to the Creatively Challenged podcast, where we talk entertainment news and random topics we bring to this $34 card table. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Nolan, and I am here to introduce you to episode 11 of Creatively Challenged. Mike Stuglis, how do you feel about that? We made it 11 episodes now.
Ryan, you sound so clear from Missouri all the way
Oh,
here
yeah.
in Illinois.
Right now we're doing this over Google Hangouts and somehow recording it with each other here. We're all doing a long-distance relationship at the moment. I'm staying this summer in Colombia.
Yeah, and long distance.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, long distance relationships.
Hey,
are
but we're going
shitty,
to keep it together. I have faith in us.
What? Yeah, that's goddamn right. You better not be cheating on me,
no.
huh? Don't be going
I'd
doing
never
other
even think
podcasts.
about that. That's just wrong. But that's Dan Stewart
Good.
over there, just making sure I'm
Good.
faithful. What have we got
That
for
is.
news this week, guys?
Who wants to start?
I'll take
Because
it.
you put that story in there.
All right.
Definitely
So-
not me.
It's been announced that FXX, a network offshoot of FX, has ordered a series produced by Donald Glover, and it's going to be a Deadpool animated series. FX is notorious for making great television that is uninhibited by ratings, and it's more art-driven. It can be more vulgar, and so, especially with Donald Glover being the producer, we're probably going to see a very good Deadpool series. It's a cartoon, obviously, but I think it could be like a really good opportunity to further explore the Deadpool kind of world there. What do you guys think?
Do we
My
know
guess
who's voicing
is
Wade?
if they
Is it
do
gonna
it
be
far
Donald
enough, it's going to be
Glover,
Nolan
or
North.
Is Ryan Reynolds
Nolan
gonna
North
come back
has
to do it?
voiced every. He's been Deadpool in everything else. So
Oh, he's
that's
the
going to be my
man.
guess. He's a
Yeah.
very famous voice actor. For those that don't know, he does everybody really.
Does he
but
do?
I would hope it's
Deadpool
Nolan
in,
North.
like? Does he do Deadpool in like the video games and the TV series where he has that scratchy voice? Is that him?
Yeah, every single appearance has been
That's
Nolan
awesome.
North. Yeah.
That's awesome. You want to know who else was him? Was Will Friedle,
I completely
who
buy
was
it.
in
Okay.
what was it called? Boy Meets World.
What?
Will Friedle. You've never heard of Boy Meets World?
I don't even.
No,
know
but
what
I
that
know
is.
Will Friedle. What about him?
He was in
No.
Boy Meets World. What was Corey's older brother's name?
I have no fucking idea. I haven't watched the show.
All right. Well, he's been Deadpool before. He was Deadpool in the Ultimate Spider-Man show on Disney XD.
Oh, that was him. Okay.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you think about this?
I like it because FX has already Archer, or FXX
Yeah.
rather, already has Archer and It's Always Sunny. So, Archer's a bit of a blend of action and comedy, and I could see a Deadpool show produced by Donald Glover, who already has Atlanta on FX, being awesome. I can't wait. I hope it comes out very soon, but this sounds like something that just happened, so we probably have to wait till like 2019. Would be my guess.
Yeah.
I don't know how far along they are, but I think it sounds great. Do you?
It sounds great. It would be smart of them to have this launch alongside with Deadpool 2. I have no idea what year that comes out, but I think that would be a really smart move on their part.
2018 summer. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think that's doable
Yeah.
though. If they're far along in the process, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's all I got on that. Who wants to take the next story here?
Dan's got the next story, definitely. If it's in front of you, Dan.
It's not in front of me because Google Docs is acting like a piece of shit.
It's the Jeff Goldblum.
Well,
thing.
it's a story and then what we have to say about it.
You guys know more about it than I do, so I would defer it to one of you.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, knowing what it is now, so what happened is we read or found. Ryan found it. I read it. This article on ScreenCrush.com of Jeff Goldblum kind of talking about the year in front of him and talking about Thor Ragnarok, which is coming out in November. And he also talked about his recent involvement and getting involved in Jurassic World 2. But during this interview, we love Goldblum, love the guy. But during this interview, Jeff Goldblum talked about how he is rating Taika Waititi, who is the director of Thor Ragnarok. He is giving him a 10 out of 10 Goldblums on the Goldblum scale. This made us all freak out because we here on the Creatively Challenged podcast have been using the Goldblum scale. We only go 1 to 5, but we use the Goldblum scale to rate our movies on this podcast. So this is nuts because we don't know whether we inspired Jeff Goldblum or Jeff Goldblum has been doing this himself for a long time. But regardless, this is like the coolest thing ever, and I am so excited because my uncle out in California got some contacts going on, and we kind of have to send a package together of some of our audio works to Jeff Goldblum's PR people to figure this whole thing out. So hopefully this whole thing works out, and Jeff Goldblum becomes a partner with us and sponsors this Creatively Challenged podcast. What do you guys think of the possibility that we could be friends with Jeff Goldblum in the near future?
I just want to have a discussion with him, not even necessarily about his movies. I want to do one of our random topics with him. I don't know how long we'd get him for, but if we were, I would want to do it of a random topics. I just want to know, I want to see him in an average state like the rest of us, to where he's not talking up a movie he's in, more or less just seeing him in a natural setting. And like later we're going to talk about our original screenplays dying, and I'd like to hear like Goldblum's opinion on that. That's how I think of it. I want to see him in, it'd be cool for us to see him in like an average Joe setting and just have a very normal conversation with him. So if he's out there, I really hope Jeff comes on, because we have the Goldblum scale, which is obviously inspired by Jeff.
I think I'm going to be a little cautiously optimistic about it, because we don't really know how well we're going to impress his PR people. And so, I mean, it would be even amazing for us to just get a social media shout out from him, like I'm not sure if we're going to get him, but the fact that we're talking to his people is
I'm with
amazing.
You there, Ryan, 100%, because, it's all you can do is hope, but it would be outstanding to just meet one of my childhood heroes, Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum.
It's truly something to be excited about, though. I mean, like, even to get the opportunity, shout out to my Uncle Dan for being able to make this possible. And we're putting together the package now. We're working on it, and hopefully with some luck, we could make this happen. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and keep doing good shit here on the podcast.
I was telling everybody when I was calling everyone, telling them about what's going on, I was saying this is going to be our big break, and then we're going to get to just like do the thing that all famous people did where they drop out of college and move to LA. This is it. This is how we drop out, boys.
We're
peaking. Yeah, we're peaking right now on the Creatively Challenged podcast. This is it. This is our golden ticket to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, or Jeff Goldblum's chocolate factory. Whoever owns the chocolate factory.
That's
feel like
what
Jeff
I just
Goldblum
thought when
could
you
play
said
Willy
that. I'm
Wonka.
like, I could, if you know what? I was like, if Depp can do it, he can do it.
I'm like, that'd be interesting. Yeah, right?
Oh, now I
fantastic.
just want to see this now.
Oh my God! When we become friends with Jeff Goldblum, if we become friends with Jeff Goldblum, we got to tell him he could probably be Willy Wonka.
I'd like that.
Yeah, right.
Is anything else
I'm just,
on this?
Excited.
No, keep your fingers crossed. Yeah, keep your fingers crossed.
Ryan,
We
you
gotta
take
work
the
this
next
out.
news topic.
You got it. Okay. So this was a big development for my life last week. I'm a big comic book fan. One of my favorite comic book characters is Hellboy. There were 2 movies in the early 2000s directed by Guillermo del Toro that starred Ron Perlman, and there was always rumors of a third happening, and then a lot of studio problems happened, and Guillermo del Toro ended up saying that it's not happening. There was too much gridlock between them and the studios. Ron Perlman got too old, and then they were just like, it's over, never happening again. And I got real sad because I wanted to see more Hellboy movies. Then all of a sudden, this week, Guillermo del Toro made a tweet, and he was saying that it is happening. We're getting another Hellboy. It's not Hellboy 3 necessarily. It's going to be a soft reboot, I guess, and it's going to be starring David Harbour from Stranger Things as Hellboy, which I think is fantastic casting, and it will be directed by Neil Marshall, who apparently is the new face of Game of Thrones and The Descent. I've never seen anything Neil Marshall's done unless he's done episodes of Game of Thrones.
I've
What'd you say?
seen The Descent. I've seen The Descent. It's a horror
No
movie,
idea.
right?
I'm reading the article.
If it's the movie I'm thinking of, it's
Okay.
fantastic. But yeah, I'm with you. When I saw the Hellboy news, I was a bit hesitant until I heard more about it. Like you said, David Harbour coming in, and yeah, it was. In enough times passed to where it can be rebooted because Golden Army came out in what, like 2007?
I believe
or
it was 2009 off the top of my head.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd like to see a new vision. Don't get me wrong, I like Guillermo del Toro, but he's not 100% mainstream. And I think this could maybe sell more to a general audience if they take it more of the comic book route.
Yeah. What I think is that I've never seen either of the Hellboys in entirety. I know that they have a big following. They were good for fans of it. But I have comments to make about the casting here. David Harbour coming off of Stranger Things. We've been a fan of his as well here on the podcast. We've brought it up about how we love him so much. He was great for Stranger Things. He's been great as a kind of like a side role. But here, taking on the lead role in a Hellboy reboot, he's got the right chin for it. David Harbour's got a big chin, and that's going to work with all the red makeup and goatee he's got going on. And it's going to be fantastic, I hope. So it seems like it's in the hands of the right people. You get kind of creative minds in terms of directors and writers. Some of the most creative and innovative directors in Hollywood are working on Game of Thrones. So this is good all around. It's good signs. I'm not a Hellboy fan, but I think Hellboy fans can be excited with this casting and the people who are directing it.
I will add, I'm happy Harbour's doing it, but I'm bummed that Perlman's not returning because he was awesome, and I think Ryan can attest to that too.
Yeah, no, he was really great. He just said that getting in and out of the makeup was a pain in the ass, and I guess like if he's too old, he's too old, and it sucks. But David Harbour is a really, really good choice. I think like at least in the things that I've seen him in, his sort of just don't care attitude, just kind of like gritty essence about him is perfect for the character. He really fits the bill for me. Do you like it, Mike?
I love it. David Harbour I wanted for Cable, and seeing him as Hellboy, I feel like it's fulfilled now. I really wanted him to break mainstream, into the movies because I think he's just got a naturalness to him when he's on screen that he feels like an average Joe, and that's why Hop feels so real. And he has a small role in Black Mass, but again, he plays it so well because you can feel the pressure on him and all these things.
Who was he in Black Mass?
He's Joel Edgerton's like other agent that works with him. They're both corrupt. He's the one when he's eating and Whitey Bulger's like just saying that whole thing when he's like fucking with him. That's David Harbour.
Yeah, he was the big part in the trailer. Like that was like the scariest and one of the craziest parts of the movie was the scene between Johnny Depp and David Harbour. So, one thing that stood out about the Hellboy movies, like I said, I've never seen them in their entirety, but every time Ron Perlman's on screen in the red makeup and as Hellboy, it was great. Whenever I've caught them, I'm just like, I kind of don't know what's going on here, so I'm not going to sit down and watch this. But I was just like, okay, Hellboy, I can see how Perlman's take on the character is an iconic performance in terms of superhero and comic book movies. So that's awesome. And we'll see if Harbour can still have that magic of the character and put his own twist on it. So when was that slated for coming out?
It was just announced. I don't think that there was a date attached to it.
So they don't even have it? I wonder how long the talks have been going on for getting Harbour to be the actor, because it really seemed like he was going to be Cable, and then Michael Shannon came in. So I wonder how much these superhero roles
like
kind of
in
get tossed
advance?
around Hollywood,
I don't know.
because there's got to Yeah, because there's got to be a lot of talking going on. There's got to be a lot of conversation. And to get guys like these to do those films, it's going to take a lot of conversation. So I wonder how many superhero plans they've got, and if people have those roles coming in on their desks, like kind of what determines whether they get it or not. Especially for Cable, which was a highly disputed role. I don't know if Hellboy was the same, but David Harbour was considered for both of those. I wonder how many other roles he's gonna get offered or has been offered in the past.
It's definitely interesting. Yeah. Are we done with this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
All right.
move on here.
So, we had earlier this week, I believe it was Monday, the new Blade Runner trailer directed by Denis Villeneuve, which will star Ryan Gosling, Harrison Ford will return, Robin Wright, Dave Bautista, to just name a few, Jared Leto. I'll toss it to you guys to start. What did you think of the trailer?
Dan?
I love this trailer. Mike and I really made an attempt to see Blade Runner, but we turned it on. It was like 11:30 at night, and we had like come in and we're tired. So I gotta dedicate myself to watching the first Blade Runner again. But in terms of this trailer, this movie looks really awesome. Like the trailer wasn't, kind of gave us a taste of the characters and the tone that's going to be set in this movie. And it looks really interesting and crazy. And after seeing Arrival, and I know that Dennis Villanova can really direct the hell out of a movie. So to take on this Blade Runner sequel and to have Harrison Ford working with younger actors like he has been doing for Star Wars and he will be doing for Indiana Jones 5, then we've got some big work here, and it looks really good so far. So let's just hope trailers moving forward continue that, and that the movie can follow up with that when it comes out. Ryan, what did you think?
So, along with the great director Denis Villeneuve taking this one, we've
On the
got
lenses.
Roger
I'm
Deakins
glad you
as the
mentioned it, yeah.
cinematographer. Yeah. And Denis Villeneuve in interviews has said like Roger Deakins went nuts over filming this movie, like in a good way. So if he's letting loose and getting really creative with the source that he's working with, this could, like, whether or not the story is shallow, because a lot of people complain saying that Blade Runner is shallow. That's just something I've read. Haven't seen Blade Runner. But whether or not this movie has a very good story, it's going to look awesome. Okay? And that's all you need sometimes.
I'm so sorry. I've got an orange juice burp that's stuck in my chest right now, and it won't come out. And I tried to burp, and I couldn't.
I would
so
say
like a
next
squealing
time that
sound came
happens,
out.
the head away from the mic might be the maneuver that's most fit.
Yeah, it'd be best.
But
I
Ryan,
apologize.
I'm with you. Deacon on the lenses is what really drew me from the trailer. It looked fucking beautiful. It looked great, and
Yeah.
mixed with Villeneuve's directing, I know it's going to be shot well. That I'm not worried about. I know there's going to be some good action, because if you saw Sicario and Prisoners, he knows how to create a tense movie. He knows how to create action. And it looks like Jared Leto's going deep too. He creeped me out. He was only in like one scene, and he says some weird fucking shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, dude.
maybe that was the Mr. J we were supposed to see, but everything I saw from this movie, I am completely on board for. I'm going to go back within the next couple days, I think, and watch Blade Runner, because I got about an hour in and I was really enjoying it, but like Dan said, it was a little late, and it's a very dense movie. It's very sci-fi heavy. I wonder if this one will be the same, but yeah, I got to go back and watch the first one. But from what I saw in this trailer, I'm in, and I can't wait to see it. Yeah.
A trailer was hung.
Yeah. If you could measure a trailer on whether or not it's hung, this trailer was hung. We give this trailer
What's the
about
point?
4.5 out of 5 Goldblums.
Not enough Goldblum.
Not enough Goldblum.
All right. Fair enough.
And speaking of, I'm sorry to get away here a little bit from Blade Runner. We know the Blade Runner trailer was hung, but Did Jared Leto say he was ever coming back to have like a role as the Joker in any of these DC movies? Is there any plan to do that?
He's under contract. He's definitely coming back.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a valid question, Dan.
Okay.
Yeah, and you could definitely tell that he had time to shoot this movie because of probably, he not doing anything with Warner Brothers at the time. But I think he'll be back. I would have to assume.
I would hope so because I enjoyed his part in Suicide Squad, but there wasn't enough of him, and you can't really judge him that much. Like, yeah, well, you can say whether you liked him or not, but really you can't judge him until he's the main villain in a
totally
full-length
fair.
movie.
Dan, is your
What's our
thing
next
still
story
fucked
here?
up? All right. Do you want to do the last one? Do you know enough?
No,
about
I
it?
got it up here.
All right.
Yeah, I'll take it in. So, here we go. So, we've been talking about it a couple of times here on the podcast occasionally just to, check in on it. It's got one of our favorite directors in Martin Scorsese. And his Netflix film, The Irishman, which is the film that's going to take actors such as Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Bobby Cannavale, Harvey Keitel, and now officially, Joe Pesci.
I'm pretty sure it was confirmed. Unless something major news comes out, I read that he will be in it.
Ooh.
And that's fantastic. And that movie, where it's going to make them all younger and shit, is going to start shooting in August. Guys, I'm excited about it.
Well, it's slated for 2019, but my guess would be that's not award season 2019. That's probably January, and they're going to do pre-screenings in December 2018. That would be my guess for the Oscars because this movie has Oscar. That's just my guess. I don't know if this de-aging technology will take 2 years. Who knows? But I did some research after this project came out, and they're all playing, Pesci, De Niro, Pacino, Cannavale, Keitel. They're all playing real-life mobsters, all different kinds that were real people. And some of them got hit, like Jimmy Hoffa, who Pacino's playing, and some of them were just crime bosses till the end. Like Joe Pesci's playing a guy who I think his name is Russell Bolifiano or something like that, and he was known as the quiet mob boss, and he ran the entire coast. Which is interesting to me, is Pesci's usually playing the loud guy. So I would love to see a different kind of Joe Pesci, more subdued. And I think it sounds awesome to see him maybe in a different type of role. But, there's no way you aren't buying into this movie, Ryan.
I keep forgetting this is going to be for Netflix. This is enormous.
Yeah.
This is, I mean,
Yeah,
especially if they're doing de-aging stuff. This is a huge production. Obviously, I would guess a lot of money's going into this, unless maybe set production is minimal. But it. Okay,
$125
that's
million.
sizable for a crime
That's
movie,
what
isn't
the
it?
budget
Hey,
is. Yeah.
that's a decent budget.
Yeah. So Jesus, I'm excited. Everything you guys just said nails it for me. But I can't wait to see it. To say the least.
Yeah, you can't say you're not
But
excited
Mike,
to see this
I
movie.
literally started laughing when you said that Joe Pesci's going to play the quiet guy. Do we really believe that he's going to play the quiet guy?
might.
Here's the thing.
I would like
So
to see
he's
him.
been retired from acting for a little bit now. Yeah, so
2010. Yeah.
Maybe he does play the quiet guy. I really don't know. But there's gotta be a freak out. There's always a
That's
Joe
what I was
Pesci
saying. There's gonna be one
where he
scene.
freaks out, and so I don't know, man. I'm excited. I'm glad they got him. We think that they got him, right? So I'd say that still keep on your toes about it, but I'm pretty sure they got him. So this is gonna be exciting.
Even without
Oh, big
Pesci,
time.
I buy
big
it.
time.
I mean, I obviously want him, but even without him, it's gonna be great. And I am just over the moon. This will be my most anticipated movie over Star Wars if it gets a next year release, which you will not hear me say
Hell yeah.
very often.
Hell yeah.
So man, I'm so stoked for this movie.
Yeah, I'll take us
But,
into our next
is that
topic
it for the news, guys?
because last week we fucked it up.
We didn't fuck up anything.
I fucked it up.
Technology fucked
I
us.
guess it's technology, but nonetheless, we're gonna deliver on it because it was awesome. We saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 last week, and so right now we're gonna jump into our spoiler-free part of the review here. First thoughts. What are you guys thinking? Okay.
We're gonna do positives
Got
and then
it.
negatives, and then we'll rate it. I'll start it. I've seen it twice now, and I honestly liked it more the second time, and I loved it the first time. This movie's fantastic, guys, and it carries on the magic from the first one, which some could argue Age of Ultron failed at. But the positives, without spoilers, the comedy's back and the music's back, full head of steam. Both are fantastic. Michael Rooker as Yondu, the standout for me, and I said it after the first time, and I say it even more after the second time. And then the story gets deeper, and you get more into these characters, and they're just all fleshed out throughout the film. And I don't know how they could develop Peter Quill more, and they still did that more so in this movie. I'll save some for you guys, but it was a lot of fun, and it is the perfect way to start off the summer.
Now, granted, Mike kind of covered all the bases. Michael Rooker as Yondu was awesome. It still captured the magic of the first one, something that some of the other Marvel sequels haven't really done yet, other than the Captain America films. But it was awesome. I fucking love this movie. The cast is great, incredible chemistry. They're back again. The comedy's still there. It holds up to par with the first one. It's a great movie. I enjoyed it so much, but enjoying it more, I have been playing Awesome Mixtape Volume 2 nonstop for like the last week and a half since I've seen the movie, and I think, bold statement incoming, I think I like Awesome Mix Volume 2 more than Awesome Mix Volume 1. Now,
Dan, I agree, because it's the meaning
Exactly.
behind the songs
But I mean,
in this one that are better.
the first Guardians came out 3 years ago, so let's see how I feel about Awesome Mix Volume 2 in 3 years after I've played the fuck out of it. But I feel like there's more meaning in the soundtrack. I feel like the songs kind of, compared to the first one, like Awesome Mix Volume 1 is kind of like more of a party soundtrack, while kind of like it kind of dips a little bit into emotions between Star-Lord and Gamora. This one is just kind of a feel-good, low-key road trip music the whole time, and it hits you in the heart. There's some party music on there, and it makes you feel good, but all the songs are feel-good songs, and I just love it, and I am going to continue to only listen to that all summer, because Awesome Mixtape Volume 2 is the mixtape of 1984 summer, while also being the mixtape for 2017 summer.
But Dan, what about the movie? We got this mixtape review in here. What do you think of the movie overall?
Okay, so Mike hit the nail on top of the head. I mean, the acting was great. I love the cast chemistry. The movie succeeded in being a sequel, a successful superhero sequel. And post-credit scenes, they were kind of underwhelming, but Jeff Goldblum though, in one of the post-credit scenes, that's not really a spoiler, is it? Okay, good.
No.
But other than that,
yeah.
it was a successful superhero sequel, and I loved it. I loved every part of it, including the soup part.
It was a good joke in the movie. And speaking of
And
jokes, it was hilarious. This movie was written by James Gunn again, and God, I might even argue it's better than the first in terms of comedy. This was a different story that was being told than the first one, which is a good thing. A lot of times with Marvel sequels, you'll get a generic plot, and for the most part, a lot of critics said that it was a generic plot, and I'll give them that because it was really simple. Yeah,
For
yeah.
2/3
But
of it, it was a generic plot.
besides the generic plot, it was driven by like it was very much a character study, you know, and we get to learn more about these characters, and I think that overall completely negates the simple plot line that it follows. I think it's entertaining enough that you can forget that. I know that goes against arguments I've said about why I think the Fast and Furious movies are not the best, but I think that it was good in other aspects that allow it to still be a good movie, you know?
No, what? See, you're not wrong about the Fast and Furious because you're not contradicting yourself because they just have a thin plot. This movie had a thinner plot, but it's in its side stories,
okay.
it fleshed everyone out. So it was the small moments that made this movie great.
That's an eloquent
I
way
thought.
of saying it.
And
I just kind of
and it,
sorry for interrupting you guys, but I
No, go
I
ahead.
just kind of loved how, you know, it in the first film, you kind of got the development, you got some of the background stories of all the Guardians. Mike, I think you touched on this a little bit, that you thought they almost couldn't do more character development, but there was still more there for every single character we had met in the first one, and there was more character development for characters that were brand new for this film. And you would think that's a lot of characters, but really they do it beautifully of balancing all the character development and introducing new characters and developing old ones still all at the same time, and it made for such a great story. I loved this movie so much.
I'll get into the negatives here because I think
Yeah.
we've all said our positives. I when we first recorded this and this wasn't able to air, I was hitting on the plot like Ryan and I were discussing, and since my thoughts changed because the movie catches its footing 2/3, but I will say that is a little long for a movie to catch its footing because it relies on these people called the Sovereign and these Ravagers led by a douchebag named Taserface to carry the Taserface. Yeah, and it relies on them for about 2/3 of the movie to carry this plot as the antagonist, and I just didn't buy it. I thought that the little moments in music and comedy was getting me through it, but there was no power. And then once you find everything out of how this story unravels, it really falls into place. But again, 2/3 is a long time for something not to have a structured, linear plot. So that's my first one. And my second one, I do not go back on it. I think Karen Gillan as Nebula does not fit the tone of these movies because all she does is grit her teeth and yell, and I just don't buy it. And I get it, that's her character, and the character's not my problem. It's her acting. I just don't buy it. I just think she sounds like a whiny bitch, and she's very unlikable. Even at the end of the movie where you're supposed to feel for her, that's not a spoiler, yeah, I didn't give a shit about her. There was other stuff going on that mattered, and I didn't care about her at all, and she's
Mike,
a big negative for me. I just don't like her.
Are you sure? I got a question about that. Are you sure it's not the way she's written, or is it completely entirely Kieran Gillen's fault?
No, because the backstory of her character
Okay.
is great, and it should make you understand where she's
No, but I
coming
think
from.
that's part of it, though. I think I brought this up last time, but I think we find out more about her, and she's way more of a cyborg than she is a living being, and I think that might be like part of the reason why she acts like that. And that's not me making excuses for her because I don't know how that's why she's taking the character that way, but like I think that could be why, and that's the way I view it, and I just took more understanding. But here's the thing, she's not a main character, so I'm not going to let it bother me. That doesn't bother me at all with her.
But this is a movie where it's an investigation of the characters, and so like me and Mike are more saying that it's about the acting rather than her physical attributes in the movie.
Yeah, I love the way she's presented. I think she is a good character. I just don't like the way she's played. I don't have remorse for her character. I don't really her I just can't get anything out of her performance. Again, that's just me. I get where Dan's coming from. I get how it doesn't bother him, but personally, that's my big thing. And you know what? She's a side character like Dan says, so it's not it's not something that slows the movie
Sure.
down per se.
Sure.
Yeah. I can get into what I didn't like, but there's not a lot. You know, you don't have to go fishing for stuff you don't like, but there's really not a lot of it. And I'll just say it right now: the gold people. The gold people are the only thing I have wrong with this movie. They were just kind of lame, and you know, like I feel like when they were presented, they were all set up, you know, for like the next Guardians, or even if they are involved in Infinity War, whatever future Marvel movie they'll be involved in. You know, like I feel like they were all set up and they were lame because, you know, I mean I won't get into it in the spoiler-free talk here, but you know, like they were all set up and they felt like set up, and you know they barely scratched the surface with what they are, but for the amount of screen time they had, it was just like, all right, can we put this somewhere else? Because they didn't dig deep on what those characters are about, but then you're supposed to think that they're the antagonist for most of the film, and that just wasn't the case, and they were lame, and hopefully they can be better in future films. I'm not saying they're just so stupid they should be off. It's just like, you know, like they didn't dig deep with them, but they had too much screen time in the movie, and that's all I have for my negatives.
That's fair. The only you guys have completely touched on everything I could have said negatively about this movie, but I saw something this morning about Guardians 2 that I am kind of upset about, and I want to hear what you guys think about it. This morning I had my last final, and instead of using the hours I had prior to it to prepare more so for the test, I decided to go on the internet and read about movies because that's what we do. And I came across
understandable.
Yeah. I came across this article that was hating on the character Mantis in the movie, and Mantis is an established character who's been in the Guardians, who's been her own thing. She's fought the likes of Thor. She's fought a lot of very, very powerful characters in the comics, and I'm not going to get into spoilers of Mantis in the movie, but they were making the case that Mantis was nerfed in this movie, in that she was underutilized and quite shallow in the movie, which I don't necessarily have a problem with. But then they went to have a statement on it saying that she fulfilled Asian woman stereotypes in that she is useless and only complains, and that was like oddly unneeded, and I didn't think that was her case at all. She was just an alien who was raised in weird conditions.
I have no comment for douchebags that are gonna air articles just to be controversial. That guy who put that out there is just looking to get readers.
Yeah, and it wasn't the crux of the article. It wasn't. That was just something he mentioned, but like it was ridiculous.
I am visibly like pissed off.
I know.
Like I like that's so stupid. Like I said, that guy went fishing for negatives and fishing for comments and fishing for readers. And that pisses me off. Literally, I can't talk about why Mantis was the way she was because then I'll spoil the movie. But I can get into this. Mantis and Drax had like two of the best chemistry between two characters in the whole movie. I mean, there's a lot of pairings going on in this movie, in terms of like cast chemistry, and Drax and Mantis were fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And I loved Mantis's character, and she'll be back. So I'm excited for her character to come back because I liked her in this movie.
There's no way she could have been shallow because when they explain why she is there, there's no way she can't be any other way.
I concur.
Without getting into
Exactly.
spoilers, I know you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
yeah, that's all I have to say on that. Are we ready to rate this guy?
Yeah.
Yep.
We are sitting on 4 out of 5 Goldblums, which is Independence Day, another great
correct.
blockbuster.
Yeah.
That's what this is comparable to. If you want to go out and shove some popcorn down your face, this is a good one. This is a good one, guys.
Take your friends, take your family, take everybody you know. It's a great movie.
I would also recommend
For-
rewatching the first one before, just so you know
Yes,
the
absolutely.
general stuff.
Yeah. I rewatched the first one, 4 out of 5 Goldblums. You know, any movie could could use more Goldblum, but this movie has Goldblum in it. Stick around through the credits, watch the end credit scenes. It's a Marvel movie, so you're gonna want to stick around and watch everything with it. And yeah, Goldblum's in it. It's a great movie. Go see it. All right. Are we gonna get into spoiler talk here?
Yeah, what do you
let's
guys
touch upon it. You know, the
Hold on, let's
yeah.
give some time for the guys to leave the podcast here and pause us if they want to leave and not listen to the spoilers. Let's count to 5, 4, 3, 2,
3, 2,
1.
1. All right, go. Second time I watched this movie, it occurred how much of a better villain Kurt Russell was than the standard Marvel villain. I thought his motives were generic, and that's what I knocked on the movie before first. But Dan said it is going to be generic. It's a Marvel movie, and I don't know if you can forgive it for that, but how Kurt Russell played this character was phenomenal, with being charming and then being evil when he had to be, and it made him a very fleshed out villain when they bring, by making Peter Quill his son. So I say Michael Rooker was great, but Kurt Russell was right behind him. He was so good. When he dies and he's like, you'll be just like them, and he's like almost fucking crying when he says it. I was just like, holy shit. Like, I didn't realize how emotional this moment was the first time I saw it. And I loved Kurt Russell as the villain. I think he's up there with I think he's a better villain than Ronan was, and I thought Ronan was a good villain. Personally, that's how I feel. I just thought he was so developed. Ryan, what do you think?
Well, that's shocking that you like Ronan. A lot of people say he was like the worst.
I liked him personally.
What did you like about him?
I thought I found him menacing. Now,
Okay.
I thought,
No, I can see that.
again, he had the typical Marvel motives, but I liked that they put this umbrella of Thanos over him. You could see his pressure that he was under, and I thought he was very menacing. Now, was he amazing? No, but I thought he was a good villain, and I thought Kurt surpassed him.
It was a really sinister and un-Marvel-like move for them to have Ego, Kurt Russell's character is named Ego, to have Ego be the one that put the brain tumor in Peter Quill's mom. I was shocked that they took that route, especially for a PG-13 movie. Murdering someone's mother is, well, I guess, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, they kill everybody's parents.
Mother.
Never mind.
They kill everybody's parents.
That's totally a Marvel thing. Like, Uncle Ben's dead. Never mind.
No, but having the father
yeah,
do it
no.
is a big step.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was menacing. He killed her. That's insane.
And that was a great part there of the movie when Peter found out that it was Ego who put the tumor in his mom's head. Because it was dude, he pulled his fucking gun so quick and started firing. Like, and the line, he said, "You killed my mother." It was so similar to Tony Stark's line in Civil War, where he wants to kill Bucky because Bucky killed Tony's parents. And it was so similar to that. And I just kind of love about these Marvel movies now is that you see them and you know that they're Marvel movies and they're all connected. But like, you sit there and I find it so much more enjoyable that it's so much bigger. It's part of a giant universe. It makes the movies more enjoyable that they're all connected. Like, and watching this movie was one of the first times where I've actually gotten to realize that. And you don't even see anybody else from any other Marvel movies in this. Like, it's just the Guardians. They're kind of doing their own thing for right now. They haven't been involved with the Avengers yet, but they're going to be. But I enjoy the fact that it's part of a bigger universe, and I cannot wait until they're going to be in Infinity Wars. But the way this movie went, the tone of this movie, Kurt Russell as Ego in this movie, made the Guardians that much more lovable. And that was, what people were kind of concerned about going into the film, because the first one was such a huge movement. The first one was such a surprise at how good it was and how lovable the characters in the film was. The second one did its job. It was great. It put another stepping stone down into the great lake that is Marvel films, and I just fucking love this. I'm glad it's part of the big universe, and Kurt Russell was fucking dope.
Hell yeah.
And Howard the Duck's in it again. And Howard the Duck, the great Marvel superhero, is getting all of his screen time in the Guardians of the
You
Galaxy
know what
movies.
really stood out to me, and this would probably be the last spoiler thing we talk about, is Yondu's death might be the most emotional Marvel death we've had. I would argue.
Oh, yeah.
Father and son playing with it was amazing, and you think when you listen to that it's going to be for Kurt Russell and Peter Quill, but it's not. And the fact that they showed this little montage of Yondu raising Quill, which made it even better. That death was handled so well, and it was, they took someone who was an anti-hero and kind of a scumbag in the first movie, and they made him a father figure in this one, and that's pretty amazing to me.
It was awesome. It was they did it very well, and it was one of the times I've ever really felt any emotion for a Marvel character. Never do they really wrench your heart very well. Like there is drama, there are sad things that happen, but man, like that, got at you on an emotional level.
Like, during that scene, during Yondu's funeral scene, and Cat Stevens' father and son is playing, all the characters are kind of having an emotional moment. I couldn't help but feel emotional and think about my friends and my family during the scene. It's such a beautiful song during such a beautiful scene. Like, I almost kind of felt my face getting heavier. Not that I was, like, about to cry. Like, it wasn't Toy Story 3 sad, but, like, it was such an emotional moment. Like, I fucking agree. Like, it was such a great part, and, I do want to go see it again. My brother wants to go see it this weekend, so I might go with him again. And I want to see it again, and I just kind of want to, take it all in, because it was a great movie. I loved it, and that might be, like, my favorite part of the movie, actually.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
it caused so much emotion.
All right, is that our review?
That
then?
is our full review of Guardians
Yes,
of the
it is.
Galaxy, and I'm glad we actually got to have it this time.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 Goldblums. It's a great movie. Spoilers and no spoilers. Go see this movie.
All right, so
Okay.
random topic this week, Ryan. We will defer to you because you came up with it.
A lot of people on YouTube are starting to be their own channels now, and they do a lot of things when they analyze entertainment, and they do a lot of video essays on things. And I watched a very good analysis of the movie Passengers starring Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence, and it was explaining a lot of ways that if it was edited in a different order, it would have been a much better movie. But nonetheless, their final point was that it's still great that we had a big budget original screenplay, because these days we get a lot of things in a film franchise. We get things that are reboots. For example, we have Baywatch coming out this summer. While it looks like it's taking an original take on Baywatch, it's based on an old show. And I worry because it seems like we're not getting enough popular original content in the movies these days. A lot of times the only thing that gets people out to the theater is a big budget movie release. Everyone's going to go see that next Lego Batman or the next Marvel movie. And we're guilty of that sometimes, right? But I feel like original screenplays aren't getting people out to the theaters enough. And I wanted to know if you guys are as worried as I am.
How you presented it was, are they dying? Are original screenplays going somewhere? And I would say mainstream, 80% of them are probably going to continue being studio pictures, but I don't think they're ever going to go away 100%. Because you want to know some writers and directors who produce original screenplays and direct their projects? Christopher Nolan, who's mainstream. Quentin Tarantino, who's mainstream. Edgar Wright, who will probably break into the mainstream this summer, is my guess. So mainstream, yes, but I don't think original screenplays are going anywhere, because in terms of other people who do it, every film nut knows who the Coen brothers are, knows who M. Night Shyamalan is, and knows who Woody Allen is, if you're a film nut. I don't think original screenplays are ever going to go anywhere. I just think we're going to continue seeing less of them, which is unfortunate, but there's no way that they're going to stop being made, because they're a freaking category at the Oscars, for Christ's sake.
Oh my, yeah, that's a good rebuttal, actually. I didn't even think about it that way. I'm sorry, Dan, what were you saying?
I agree with Mike. Here's the thing, like, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of film. I've taken film classes. I've studied film. I know how to decipher film, and whether it's an original screenplay film or it's an adapted title or a sequel, I still watch them the same way. And as long as there are good movies coming out, you know, people are still going to make them. Quentin Tarantino, Christopher Nolan, two of my favorite directors. They're original. But then, you've got the whole Marvel universe, and I love those movies too. And it's like I can't, I like you said, I'm guilty because I get up and I go out to go see the sequels and the adaptations and the big studio productions, but I also get up and go out to go see independent films and original screenplays and everything like that. So I think there's always going to be a respect for original screenplay, and I don't think that original screenplays are dying. But, I mean, obviously they're significantly less, but they're always going to be there. I don't think they're ever going to go away completely. But that's not me saying the sequel and adaptation is dominating Hollywood, because certainly it is. That's making in the most money. But original screenplays aren't dying. It's just it depends on the auteur and the director. To keep kind of producing original content, and there's always going to be somebody new who respects the old ways films were made and is going to come up with original screenplays. You got to just trust the process and trust the fact that people who are fans of film are going to make films that are original, and there are going to be guys who make films who are big budget, huge sequels. That's always good. I just want good movies out there, man.
And something I feel is lost on a lot of people is how many times like renowned movies, critically acclaimed movies, there's so many of them are based off of books, and so like in their own way they're almost not original themselves. It doesn't mean it could be bad. Being unoriginal doesn't always mean it's going to be bad, and we should always keep that in mind. But you guys have a unique take on that. I didn't even think about that.
I think about it this way as well. All right. Well, this is just kind of getting into the sequel adaptation stuff. Okay, so the first Harry Potter book, or the first Harry Potter movie, came out 4 years after the first book was published, and a year after the fourth book was published. So when the first Harry Potter movie came out, there were already 4 books out, and the movie brought the Potter love to new fucking heights, to kind of the area it is now.
Yeah.
And I don't think, say they waited to make the movies until after all 7 books came out, it wouldn't be as popular. They started making the movies when J.K. Rowling was the only person on the planet who knew how the series was going to end. Because they knew, holy shit, we could just do this and it's going to have a huge fan base, and look at it now. So like it almost goes hand in hand with authors and movie directors who want to turn books into movies, because I'd have to say, like, Warner Brothers approached J.K. Rowling, and who was 4 books in, writing 5 when they came out with the first movie, and said, hey, we've got the idea to turn your books into movies. And that launched it to new heights. Harry Potter wouldn't be what it is if a movie director didn't approach JK and say, hey, we should start cranking these out now. Because I don't think it would have been as successful unless, if they waited to pass.
So are you
the
just
7th
saying
book,
that, like, adaptations are a good thing? Okay. I just wanted to clear that
Yeah, like
up.
they need to be a part of Hollywood. Like like Hollywood shouldn't be all original screenplays, and they shouldn't be all adaptations either. I think the balance right now is actually okay. Now, when Michael Bay keeps releasing fucking Transformers movies, those adaptations and sequels piss me off, because those movies haven't been good for a while now, and they keep making them. Nobody wants them is the thing. So like that is not good. But, Marvel Avengers keep fucking cranking these movies out forever.
So you
you
like the balance. That's what
I
you're
love
saying.
I love them too much.
I agree. I
Yes.
like going through the summer, seeing comics come to life, and other things like that. And then when you get to, November, October, September, December, whatever, the fall season, I like to see movies that are coming out, done by Quentin Tarantino, done by these Oscar guys. And I think it's a nice way that the year goes. I just think we're getting so many studio pictures at this point that, it's almost become a little oversaturated with the blockbuster, but, you take what you get. Like, we're not fucking in charge. And they probably know better than we do,
No.
to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And they're not going to stop making these types of big franchise movies until they stop making money, and I don't think they will. Like they're always going to be making a lot of money. So original content isn't dead.
No, I don't see that happening.
No.
I just think there's going to be, once Christopher Nolan retires, once Quentin Tarantino retires, there's going to be some new guy that takes the reins that's going to have his own unique style. And sometimes they're lesser known but not as mainstream. Martin McDonagh, I believe his name is, the guy who, did In Bruges and Seven Psychopaths. He makes original content. There's always going to be, if you're a film fan, you're going to find the original screenplay writers. That's how I see it.
And we've got Damien Chazelle, director of La La Land and Whiplash,
I can't
coming to
believe
the
I didn't
forefront
think of him,
already.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you guys are right. There's definitely hope. I just said maybe I got a bit negative, but you guys made some really good cases here.
No, I mean, but it's a good debate to have. I mean, the fact that it's even a debate is a good thing because we can't just let Hollywood completely turn into adapted screenplays, and it's discussions like these that'll make directors want to make more original content. Like I think conversations like these are the reason why new directors want to try new things and original things. So. It wasn't, you getting negative. It was showing concern, and I think that's all that matters here.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Any final thoughts on this?
No, I'm good.
I said
man.
my piece.
Episode 11. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
Do
So
you have your conclusion, Ryan, there?
Hey, let's hope that.
I can do
let's
our outro in a moment, but I was just wondering if you
final
all had
thoughts?
anything else to say.
Hey, I'll tell you what. This is our first time where we're separated. We're gonna try and get better at this. I hope the editing process is smooth for Ryan over there. But we're constantly trying to figure things out. But we want to make the best content we can for you guys, and we want to keep talking about important topics and get our opinions out there. Love our fans. Keep listening, guys. Thanks for listening.
Alien
and,
Covenant
tell your
next
friends and all that shit.
Yeah.
Alien Covenant next week.
Yes.
That's the plan.
Yep.
Yep.
And for the love of God, if you're a listener to this show, please comment and tell us what you think of Guardians 2 if you saw it. Please comment and tell us if you think original content is dying. We want to hear from you. We don't get a lot of audience engagement with comments, so just let us know on our Facebook post, let us know on our SoundCloud, YouTube, whatever you got to do. But at that, I'm going to close the episode. That is this week's podcast. Remember to rate and subscribe to us on iTunes. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Links will be provided in the description. We're also on Twitter and Facebook. So, please just engage if you can. We'd love it. We don't get enough audience engagement, and we'd love to hear from you guys. So, anything else, gentlemen?
Nope. Love you guys.
All right. And as always, thank you for listening.
What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of